going on, Only Playbook fans? I am back this week. Fantasy football is right around the corner. We are going to do top 12 running backs, and we're going to do it quick. 12 running backs in 12 minutes. Let me start the timer here again. Number 12, I have Alvin Kamara, running back for the Saints. It doesn't feel great. The situation feels a little bit disgusting. I'm not going to lie to you, quarterback situation. They drafted Tyler Shuck, and we don't know what we're going to get from him. The offense seems like it's in tremendous amount of disarray, new coaching staff. Again, receivers, Chris Olave, injury prone, the concussions, all that stuff. But the one constant has been Alvin Kamara. He's going to still catch passes. That was his saving grace. He's never been 1,000-yard rushing running back. He's been amazing because he's able to catch passes for his quarterback out of the backfield. Looking at last year, 20% target share and 15% first read targets. So we're coming into a situation where the quarterback play might be worse. We're going to need to get Tyler Shuck or Spencer Rattler check downs, easy completions, and that is going to mean production for Alvin Kamara. It's not sexy, but he is still going to get it done. Number 11, Jonathan Taylor for the Indianapolis Colts. The bad, 3 straight years without playing a full season. He doesn't always catch the ball simply because of the quarterback play and the running backs that are playing behind him as third down pass catchers, but he should still be able to produce. He is in his prime. He is an elite running back, and the Colts just announced that they are starting Daniel Jones at the helm. So Anthony Richardson is going to be benched, which is better for the fantasy outlook of the Indianapolis Colts. I think Daniel Jones is going to be able to dump the ball off. He's going to have a little bit of a read option game as well because he's got some straight line speed. So I think if you look at Jonathan Taylor historically on a points per game basis, he's over the last 3 years, running back 5, running back 8, and running back 18. So on a points per game basis, he is always there. It's more so about missing 1 or 2 games here or there. But again, he's still really talented. He's still in the prime of his career. So that's why he slots in here at number 11. Number 10, I have Bucky Irving from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, running back 7 from week 10 on last season. He was an absolute machine, a 4th-round draft pick rookie. Nobody expected this burst onto the scene because they had Rachaad White, who was incredibly productive the year before. Sean Tucker is still there. But by far, I think we can all see after last year that Bucky Irving is the best running back of the bunch. The crazy thing is, even though Bucky Irving was so good last year, Rachaad White finished as a RB24 last year. So still a low-end RB2 despite splitting time, if that, with Bucky Irving. So the targets do certainly help him. But again, because White's still there, I do think White's going to remain prevalent in the pass catching work. Sean Tucker's underrated. And the one thing we know about Bucky Irving is he's a smaller back. It's not that he hasn't been able to handle the workload last year, but just a smaller frame running back that, you love because he's incredibly talented, but you worry if he gets that workload for 17 games, what that's going to do to his body. But that's not going to stop him from being running back 10 in my rankings. Again, he's not a clear-cut 3-down workhorse, but he's about as close as it's going to get. Number 9, Chase Brown for the Cincinnati Bengals. He is Austin Eckler light. He isn't the prototypical between the tackles runner. He is a great pass catcher. And the best thing about Chase Brown, he is in a offense that loves to score points. He plays on a team that has a horrible defense that is constantly playing from behind, and he has no legitimate backups. He can pass catch, he can pass protect, and he can run the football. So even if they're down and they're throwing all game, he is going to come out of the backfield, catch passes similar to somebody like Austin Eckler. Again, there were games last year where he was playing over 93% of snaps. That is unheard of for any running back. Saquon Barkley, Alvin, like the best of the best. That's unheard of even for those players. So I do think that's got to come down slightly because that's just unheralded and that's a cause for concern from an injury standpoint. But still, you love seeing running backs that are getting that much work and volume. And again, Samaje Perine, I'm sorry, man, you're not scaring anybody as Chase Brown's backup. That's why he comes in at number 9. Number 8, Josh Jacobs, running back 5 last season. He was a touchdown machine. And I know that sounds crazy to say because I think the first 4 or 5 weeks, they couldn't figure out how to get this man into the end zone. They flipped a switch, and then he ended up scoring, touchdown in 10 consecutive games or something like that. The good thing about Matt LaFleur is he's a big proponent of the running game and the play action game. They drafted another receiver. They have pass catchers, but again, I think the premise of this offense functions by running the football and driving off of play action. That's where Jordan Love's going to be at his best. And again, his backup, Emmanuel Wilson. So really nothing to be afraid of. Again, Jacobs enters another peak year as a true workhorse, 4th in carries and red zone touches last year. And I expect that to be the same. Again, cold, snowy winters in Lambeau, they are going to be handing the football off to Josh Jacobs. So you're going to get production. There's going to be volume. So that's all of the things you love out of a running back. And that's why I have him as running back 8. Number 7, Devon Achane for the Miami Dolphins, running back 7 last year as well. This guy is also a pass-catching machine. Plus pass catcher, first in running back receptions in the NFL last year. Looking at the depth chart this year, they signed Alexander Madison, who is now hurt. Jalen Wright is the direct backup, but in the preseason snaps that he's gotten, he's looked pretty bad. He's very fast, but it doesn't seem like he's able to spot the holes in the zone and be able to explode through them. So Ollie Gordon, the rookie running back out of Oklahoma State, has looked a lot better than Jalen Wright. So there is a world where Ollie Gordon actually plays into the running back 2 role. But again, none of that should scare anybody who drafts Devon Achane. Production is dependent on the health of Tua, obviously, because the team only goes as far as Tua Tagovailoa goes. But even with that being said, your backup is now Zach Wilson, who you hope is at least somewhat functional relative to Tyler Huntley on a short, after just trading for him, or Skylar Thompson, who's not really an NFL backup or even an NFL quarterback. So Devon Achane is about as inevitable as it gets, barring injury. That's why he comes in at number 7. Number 6, King Henry. Doubt him at your own peril. He is incredible. The last 3 years, he's been RB8 or better every single year. It's safe to say that he's built different, and that the age cliff, all of that shenanigans, all that crap that, we hear about running back age 27, age 28 off the clip, that just doesn't apply to some people. And Derrick Henry is one of those people. I mean, he's absolutely incredible, because you look at his snap count and he's barely on the field for 50% of snaps, but he's so efficient because he's playing next to Lamar Jackson, where either one of those guys holds onto the football if you're the defense, and you're in trouble. So it's just a really lose-lose situation if you're a defense. That RPO offense is incredible. Baltimore's still the same, still just as good. So there is no world where I think Derrick Henry takes a step back. Even if he loses a step, touchdown opportunities are still going to be so incredibly immense that he's going to, slide in comfortably as a top 6 running back. Number 5, Saquon Barkley, last year's RB1. Why the tumble down to RB5, sweetheart? Well, let me tell you, it's historically nearly impossible for a running back who finishes RB1 to replicate that the following year. I think it hasn't happened since like 2002 or 2003. So it's incredibly challenging to do. And again, Saquon Barkley had about 450 plus touches last year if you count the playoffs. That is the second most since DeMarco Murray in his 2013 season, when he led the league in touches and was RB1. Following year, got hurt, couldn't maintain that same workload because of all of the tread on his tires. Now, that's the fear with Barkley. But again, what I just talked about, Derrick Henry at number 6, Saquon Barkley might be one of those different beasts. He is just an absolute animal. He's in an offense that is still going to absolutely feed him the football, score a lot of points in the red zone, feed him the football. The one thing you have to keep in mind is they have Jalen Hurts. He loves the tush push. There was a lot of opportunities missed for Barkley because of Hurts and the tush push. And a lot of Saquon Barkley's points last year came on giant, like 50-plus yard touchdowns. You cannot expect that to be replicatable, even though he's a beast. So that's why he slightly falls from RB1 to RB5, but I think you'll still be happy if you draft him there. Number 4, I have Jahmyr Gibbs, arguably the most exciting player to own in fantasy football right now. Every time this man touches the football, you are terrified if you're playing against him, and you are giddy if you have him. I didn't have any Jahmyr Gibbs stock last year, so every time I was playing against him, it was just an absolute nightmare. The biggest knock on Jahmyr Gibbs is going to be that David Montgomery still exists. And so while Montgomery is there, it's nearly impossible for Gibbs to produce like the overall RB1 in fantasy football, just because of the limitations in the usage in his game. But despite all of that, he is such a home run hitter. He gets used out of the backfield, catching passes, obviously running the football. He can easily finish as RB1 if Montgomery misses like 4 or 5 games. So it is not out of the realm of possibility. The one thing you have to think about is there have been some O-line changes. There is an offensive coordinator change. Obviously, Ben Johnson is no longer there anymore. So what does that mean for this offense? Time will tell, but Gibbs' talent you continue to bet on. Number 3, my man, Ashton Jeanty. Why is he so high? Oh my goodness. Well, here is another premier college prospect. You're looking at another Barkley, Bijan type level candidate. He can do it all: run, block, pass catch, pass protect. So now he's going into an opportunity that's absolutely elite. You have Pete Carroll, you have Chip Kelly and the Oakland Raiders. Sorry, you have Pete Carroll and Chip Kelly and the Vegas Raiders. My apologies, the Vegas Raiders. And what does Pete Carroll love to do? He loves to run the football. What does Chip Kelly love to do? Chip Kelly loves to run the football. You're looking at Pete Carroll and Chip Kelly, who've provided RBs a 17% target share in 3 of the 4 years that Chip Kelly's been an offensive coordinator. So it's just a situation where Pete Carroll loves to run the football. Chip Kelly loves to get his running back involved, whether it's running the ball or dumping it off to him. Ashton Jeanty, again, can do absolutely everything. I'm betting on the talent, despite the fact that maybe you look at other situations and think that the situation may be better. But I think Ashton Jeanty has an outside shot to finish as the RB1 in fantasy football. Number 2, it is CMC, the MVP, the GOAT of fantasy football when he's on the field. That's the biggest caveat. The last 5 years, the 2 years he's been healthy, RB1, wins you the league. The 3 years he's not healthy, basically loses you your league because it's really hard to replace somebody of CMC's caliber. The thing that you have to think about this year is the San Francisco 49ers have the easiest strength of schedule in all of football. Their receivers are dropping like flies. Brandon Ayuk is hurt. Juwan Jennings is hurt. Ricky Pearsall was banged up, but I think he's back now. And now you have George Kittle, who's going to also eat and be absolutely elite, but he's also up there in age. CMC, I get, he's 29. He's also up there in age, but the one thing you cannot deny with a player like CMC is if he plays a full season, he's going to be RB 1, 2, or 3 in all of fantasy football. There's no doubt about it. If he plays a full season, I bet money that he's going to finish as the number 1 back. But the reason I have him at 2 is there's just always a world where he misses a couple of games here or there, but his value is immeasurable. He's probably an MVP in all of fantasy football over the course of fantasy football history, if you will. And number 1, heir apparent, the future of the NFL, the running back, Bijan Robinson for the Atlanta Falcons. He was RB3 on a points per game basis last year. He is one of the most complete running backs in all of football. He's got a young sophomore quarterback in Michael Penix that's going to need to rely on the running game. If you look at last year, weeks 1 through 5, they had, Tyler Algier. They were like, we need to get them all work. Bijan was the RB24 on just simply 17 touches a game. Week 6 through 18, he went from 17 to 23 touches a game, and he dropped into RB3. So you're looking at a situation where they have now recognized what they have in Bijan. They drafted him so high. He is an elite talent. And I know Tyler Algier is not a bad football player, but I'm sorry, he's not Bijan Robinson. So I think they recognize that if they need this offense to take a next step, Bijan is going to be the anchor on this team. So he is in the best situation, the peak of his career, just can do it all. That is why he is my RB1. There you have it. 12 running backs in 12 minutes. Next time we are going to do receivers. Have a great week. Thank you so much. See you.